folks, Rich here at RCINFORMER. Today I have a quick unboxing video of the Freewing Stinger 90 from MOTIONRC. This is the latest and greatest from MOTIONRC with the 12-bladed composite fan in the metal housing. Puts out about 7 pounds of thrust, guys, so this should be a fun one. After the unboxing video, be sure to look at the YouTube channel for MOTIONRC. And at RCINFORMER on YouTube for the flight demo videos of this plane. What an awesome plane, guys. 100 amp speed controller, 8 amp BEC, 9 installed servos, landing lights, metal electric retractable gear, ball links, flaps, nylon hinges all the way around. You name it, this thing has it. Anyway, let's go ahead and get this thing out of the box and we'll take a look inside. With the box top removed, you can see how everything is individually bagged and neatly packaged to avoid shipping damage inside this really nice foam crate. Pretty typical via Freewing. Now let's go ahead and get all the parts out, and I'll give you a closer look at each one. You can see here the layout of all the parts that came out of the box. You can see this is going to be a real easy assembly process, everybody. You can see here the main fuselage with the fan installed, speed controller installed, servos, nose gear retract, BEC, everything's in there ready to go. Both main wing panels here, and all the linkages are already connected. You can see all the ball links already connected and all the retracts installed, ready to go together. Same thing with your vertical and horizontal stabilizer. All the linkages and everything are already connected. 2 nose cones, so you have a spare, the instruction manual, 2 wing spars here, and just a bag of hardware and screws to get everything together. Real simple airplane. Now let's take a closer look at each individual part. The first part up to show you is the main fuselage. This thing is really huge, and it's kind of tough for me to hold into the frame here, but I'll do my best. You can see right down there the fan unit already pre-installed and everything. You can see how the nose cone goes on here with just a couple of screws. You can see down there there's a little piece of wood that sticks out of that. Fits right in here and screws in place. Outstanding cooling hole right here, guys, with a little ramp so the air can get in there. As we come along the underside, outstanding landing gear doors and retract already installed in there. Very streamlined for speed. And as we get to the bottom of this thing, a couple things to note here. All the wires for the wings, ailerons, landing gear, flaps, everything. Very nicely labeled and ready to be connected. Lots of cooling here for the battery and ESC compartment. You can see the ESC right down here, and it is actually upgraded up to 130 amps on this speed controller from 100, guys. So again, this is the latest and greatest from MOTIONRC. And you can see the fan, the 12-bladed composite fan with the metal cowling, metal shroud, so the thing will not distort. Really top-notch, nice construction on this thing. Also, you can see all the wing screws tap into these metal threads. Really a beautiful design by Freewing. You can see right here the metal threads to put the wings on. Fit and finish of this thing is super nice. Just very clean. Again, all EPO foam. You can see where all your rudder wires come in here, and your elevator plugs in here. As we look down the tailpipe here, again, you can see that 12-bladed composite fan in there. Really nice shroud here for the air to come through. And as I come to the front of this thing, this is big to hold in the camera, guys. I'm going to show you this thing up close, but Cockpit has a nice painted pilot. A really nice instrument panel, and you can see how this thing comes off with rare earth magnets, tongue and grooves in the front. And just a look inside, you can see some of the servos in there for the nose wheel, and also you have a light controller board in there, separate BEC. There's also a retract controller in there. And the battery strap is super nice. The wood actually goes under the foam to really keep that battery in place for inverted flight. And also, real nice plus, carbon spars to reinforce everything along the fuselage to keep everything really rigid. Overall, folks, this fuselage is top notch. Obviously, this thing's going to go together real fast. Just outstanding quality on this thing. The next part up to show you is the main wing panel. This is one really nice wing panel. Lots of spar in this thing. What I mean by that is trying to flex this, I can hardly even move this thing. It is a very, very rigid wing. You can see a lot of the spar pockets kind of running through it, and it is just one rigid wing. You can also notice here this really multi-function. It's sort of a stall strip, stall fence, sort of vortex generator that creates some turbulence over the airflow to really keep good aileron control at low speed. Also probably helps out a lot with knife edge flight and so forth. You can see right here all the wires, aileron, landing gear, flaps. They're all set up and ready to be plugged in. You can see your spar slots right here with your carbon spars right down here that'll plug right in and put the two halves together. These two plugins right here with really nice, you can see the metal threads on that, and these two plug into the opposite wing, and then all go together with machine screws. Now on the underside here, you can see your ailerons and your flaps all have nylon and or plastic hinges. None of the EPO hinge stuff on a high-speed model like this. And the ailerons in particular are what is called submerged hinges, and you can see how nice this hinge gap is right here and right here. This is normally something you see on very, very expensive models, and what it is the leading edge of the aileron is center hinged, and you can see them in there. It's round and it rotates nice and smooth inside the channel of the trailing edge of the wing, and you can see you have a very, very fine gap there, and that really helps the airflow over them and prevents flutter. Very clean design. That's just the way a real airplane is set up, is with a center hinge, submerged type hinge like that. You can see all the ailerons and flaps, 17-gram servos, metal geared, and the ball links now that are on this thing. Comes this way just out of the box, guys. You don't need to even put the rods on. And of course the landing gear, nice metal trunnions with suspension landing gear. Everything is ready to go on this. What can I say, guys? This is just a top-notch wing panel. The last major components are the tail fins, and they are pretty much just like everything else. As you can see with this elevator, it is all hinged with nylon hinges throughout the entire thing. You have your standard kind of T hinge for the elevator that a lot of Freewing airplanes have, and as you can see here, 17-gram metal gear servos with ball links and everything. It comes just like this, guys. Again, all ready to go. Again, you don't even need to connect the rods or anything. 4 bolts puts this on. 1, 2, 3, 4. Rudder and vertical stabilizer, pretty much the same way. Both of these just have 1 or 2 connectors for the elevator, 1 for the rudder, and then they each go on with 4 screws each, and you can see how nicely here they all just fit together and attach to the back of the airplane. Once again, submerged hinge, guys, on this rudder. You can see how nice that rudder hinge gap is, center hinged and everything. Probably does really nice knife edge flight. Ball links and everything all the way around, guys. Real impressive how this airplane goes together. There's no glue for this thing. 6 screws will get your wing on, and 8 screws really will put your tail on, and then 2 screws to actually put your nose cone on, with 2 screws underneath. And this airplane is together. Really, really impressive design. Now, there's only 1 parts bag included with this airplane. You can see there's just the 14 screws really to assemble this thing, and you're offline a screwdriver, and of course they also give you the XT150 connectors, because this thing draws quite a bit of amps, and this allows you to solder these if you don't have a battery that already has these. Now, if you get this from MOTIONRC, the battery already comes with the correct polarity and everything, and has the connectors on the battery already, and a screwdriver. Now, this screwdriver looks actually a little bit small to handle some of these screws, so you'll probably just want to use a slightly larger screwdriver. Of course, a couple spare linkages and so forth if you need a spare one. But really nicely organized, all the parts bag here. Everything's in there and ready to go. Last but not least is the Stinger 90 instruction manual. It's a pretty thick manual, but really, guys, half of this thing, the last half, is basically the Chinese version, and the first half is the English version, so that's really all you need. As you go through this, there's exploded views and shows you how to assemble a lot of different things. I guess like with the kit version, it shows you exploded diagrams and things. It gets pretty technical, but you don't need all that. Basically, it just shows you how to put all 16 screws in this thing to get it together, and then you're pretty much done. The most important parts after you get the major assembly done really is, of course, the center of gravity, as usual, 110, 120 millimeters aft of the leading edge wing panel seam there as it goes back. And there's a lot more detail in here, but mostly here are the control throws. So they give you flap control throws, aileron, elevator, and rudder, and that's really important, really good stuff to have. Now, there's also a bunch of supplements that come with it. These are all folded up inside here, but they're worthy of noting. There's an English and a Chinese version on both sides of this, but there's a landing gear basically landing gear door and landing gear sequencing unit. It just gives you some instruction on that. An LED light controller board, all this stuff that we saw inside gives you a manual on how to set that. An ESC programmer guide, and right here an instructional manual actually for the separate BEC, because there is a separate 8 amp BEC on this airplane. So lots of stuff to look through that will help you get this thing going, so you can really do this thing on your own with everything provided here from Freewing and MOTIONRC. Anyway, guys, thanks for checking out this video. Look for the flight demo video on MOTIONRC's YouTube channel and on the RCINFORMER YouTube channel as well. Thanks for checking this out, and as always, guys, we'll see you next time.